Welcome everyone. It is Nero here at Dappcentre, the channel where you can find the best crypto projects and the best dApps where you can earn a passive income and learn about all the other things you could do with your precious little cryptocurrencies. Be sure to subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Now let's get to it, shall we? All right, guys. I am here doing a live AMA with the founder and CEO, JD Seraphine, and he is the founder of Raiinmaker.com. How you doing, JD? How you doing? Thank you for joining us, being here on our channel today. How are you?
I'm good, Nero. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, thanks. So tell us a little bit about yourself and go ahead and tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. So I'm a producer and entrepreneur. I actually spent most of my career in the media and entertainment business. Started off first on a TV show called 24 way back in the day, which some people might remember. And Kiefer Sutherland actually got me on that gig when I first kind of moved out to California. And that's how I started my journey in the entertainment biz. And so started working in production, worked my way up the ranks and started financing and producing independent films, independent media properties. Helped to finance a Broadway play called Rock of Ages, which was very successful. Obviously, had some Tony nominations and a big run, which in Broadway is a rarity. Usually, it can be a pretty tough industry to be successful in. So we had some good luck there. And then I went on to do a documentary also early in my career called Sirius, like the star, SIRUS. And it's actually an ET conspiracy doc, which was fun and kind of crazy. But at the same time, it was actually part of what inspired my journey with Raiinmaker. So the documentary was 100% funded by a crowdfunding campaign that was at the time the most that had been raised for a feature documentary in history. It's only been broke. I think that record's only been broken by the sequels. So basically the same kind of community and model we built. And the cool part wasn't the money we raised. The cool part was the community we built around the project and how that community went on to drive the success of the film in its marketing and distribution 11 months after we completed the crowdfund. So we did a direct consumer release of the film online, and we did over $1 million in sales in the first 2 weeks. And that was tracking every sale in real time, collecting 80% of every dollar ourselves. And this is, again, all driven by organic earned media by the community that had funded the movie. So what that showed us is that there was a new model where if you harness the power of a community and you align the incentives properly, you can see an outsized performance in the market. And so I spent a couple of years first looking for a technology that we could scale a lot of those processes and automate a lot of those processes that we did manually, and then also other projects that we could scale the model bigger. So we ended up having the opportunity, my partner and I, in our production company, our media and technology company, Vision Tree, to acquire the rights to a movie called Atari. And so Atari is basically the story of Nolan Bushnell, who was one of the godfathers of the whole digital technology revolution. And basically the first kind of he's like the forefather of all video games, you could say. And so we're producing that film with Leonardo DiCaprio and some major partners. And we came into the space about 5 years ago, the blockchain space, looking at how we could leverage the technology to disrupt film financing, film marketing. And that's what brought me down the rabbit hole. And so as I was in the space and I came in, I realized that the technology had the potential to do a lot of the things that I've been looking to do, at scale and automate a lot of those processes. So we started building Raiinmaker about 3 years ago. And so, a big part of our passion as a company with Vision Tree and with Raiinmaker is to make impact in the world. So a big, I'd say one of the fundamental things that drives me and the fundamental values is looking, to how I can make an impact and a difference in the world. So everything we do with Raiinmaker, we do with Vision Tree is seeking at this critical moment to do our part to make a positive impact for humanity. And that's actually something that really attracted me to the space, to the crypto space, was seeing that there was a lot of like-minded people in the community who I felt like actually had a similar intention. And obviously when you talk about money, when you talk about the future of money, that's a space that touches everybody's lives. And so we've just kind of jumped into the fray with all of this and basically started building Raiinmaker. about 3 years ago, coming out of that, us jumping into the space and did some documentaries along the way, and some other cool projects that we'll talk about today.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've been kind of reviewing the website and looking at everything over, and I see a lot of some things. I've seen some projects that are kind of similar to this. So my next question for you is, what are some of the Raiinmaker's features that makes it different, relevant, and unique from all the other companies and projects that are out there?
Well, Nero, I mean, it's obviously better, number one.
Of course.
No, look, I'm one of those things. I'm a believer that there's, even some of the projects that are in a similar space, like nobody's really approaching it exactly the same way that we are. And I think, like, as entrepreneurs, we're all innovating and looking to kind of come up with our own flavor for how, we're creating at the forefront of this new technology revolution. So I think everybody has their contribution to make. Ours is, like we started from the ground up and said, how can we look at the value that's being created in the digital world, by fans and community? How can we track that value transparently? Obviously in a decentralized, anonymous way, not in a centralized, big brother scary way. And then take that value that's being tracked, hash the proof onto blockchains, and then use it to distribute the value back to those users democratically that they're creating for projects. So if you go online right now and you create word of mouth for anything that you're passionate about, Nero, and I'm sure I can tell you're a passionate guy. So if you go on there and you're just like, I love this sports team, or I love, I'm excited to see, the 15th, Avengers movie or whatever it is, like, you're creating value for that brand. But right now you're getting nothing in return. And so that's something that we aim to change, because again, for us, we saw with Sirius, to go back to the original story, how the community had really driven, so much value for us. And it was difficult for us to give it back to them in the way that I would have liked. And so we built a system that, basically on a hybrid blockchain architecture, tracks all of that social engagement that's being driven across multiple social channels, and then hashes the proof on top of public blockchains. So basically we created a layer 2 consensus algorithm called proof of influence that does all that. And it uses that data to then distribute rewards to fans and community. So that's one of the big differentiators. The other one is the ability to stake rewards in campaigns on our app in multiple different tokens and NFTs for multiple blockchains. So, and in the future, I mean, the goal is for it to be, blockchain agnostic. So any blockchain tokens can be brought in from any blockchain. Right now, we've got 20 blockchains that are integrated. So that's everything from Bitcoin, Ethereum, Flow, Binance Smart Chain, Cardano, and a number of others. So we have a pretty substantial, hybrid blockchain interchain reward architecture, which again is very different than and unique than a lot of, I think, really any other competitor out there in terms of the blockchain side of the house. And then I think on the, the more business or commercial side, we're focused on the place where loyalty, rewards, and influencer marketing, meet to form a new industry sector that I feel like nobody really has captured yet. And I think that, our goal really is to aim to be one of the dominant players in that new niche or that new field. And so, so I think that also separates us. I think some of the other projects are, social. There's like a big area that you'd call social-fi, right? And I think it's great because there is like a blue ocean. I think there's kind of ships sailing in that direction and ships sailing in that direction. Where we're headed specifically, I don't really see a lot of people going directly at it the same way we are, which is an exciting thing. And we feel like we have a unique value to kind of bring to the world and community, through that, through what we're doing with proof of influence and the Raiinmaker system.
That's awesome. And I actually noticed, I see behind you, you got the Coiin logo, and the Coiin, is that the Coiin token?
That's it. And this is kind of an older graphic that we've had for quite some time. And what's funny is if I lean over this way, you can see Nolan Bushnell there. So a couple of years back, what brought me in again was to look at how we could leverage a technology for Atari, the movie. So we had created like a security token tied to the film, which, there'll be an integration with the launch of that, the marketing of that, the ability for users to, come onto the movie that we're doing with Leonardo DiCaprio and his production company, help us to promote it and to participate in the success of the film, right? That was always the original kind of value prop that we were driving towards. but obviously now it's morphed into something much bigger. Coin, it was actually the original brand identity of the project. So the two eyes in Coin and the two eyes in Raiinmaker represent the economic value of that peer-to-peer connection, that peer-to-peer transaction. So that's why, in terms of our brand identity, you can kind of see the two eyes there on the coin, and it even kind of looks like two people, right? And so, and even the Raiinmaker logo, it really looks more like two people because it's really the two eyes side by side. So that's what connects the two brands. In the original money system or monetary system of humanity, the first kind of version of it was just a coin, right? It was just a metal, a piece of metal or a piece of precious metal that was passed back and forth as a means of exchange. And so when we were going through the exercise of branding, we want to do this new social currency for humanity. I mean, that's kind of the original premise, was like, we are the wealth, right? You, me, our community, whether it's the crypto community, the entertainment community, community at large, like we actually are the wealth, like, and the connections we form and the relationships that we make, like that actually forms the primary value of the business world, right? And so we were like, okay, well, we see this, how do we capture it, and how can we create a token that that can facilitate the right type of value transfer inside of that world, understanding that premise. And that's, I think, with blockchain, one of the things that's exciting and unique is it's changing the way that value is created, and it's changing the way that value is distributed and shared. And so with our system, obviously, we're looking to specifically map that to social value, right, and what's being created in the digital world. And so Coin, as a utility token, is powering the smart contracts on the Raiinmaker system. It's being used to stake the reward pools, not just on the campaign level for projects, especially we have a lot of relationships in the world of sports, NFL teams, athletes, entertainment, big studios, projects. A lot of these guys, they're not going to create their own token. So in those cases, they'll be able to use the Coin token to stake the reward pools. But you can, like I said earlier, stake campaigns with other tokens, because we know how the crypto world is, and it's very tribal and everyone has their own token. And we want to support that. I mean, to me, you could look at that as a negative thing, or you could support it and give everyone a chance to kind of like, push their tribe, push their token. And that's part of what we'll be facilitating as we launch, our token, publicly in the next 3 months. Is that kind of, as having a push from many communities, and that's, I think, going to make us a lot stronger than someone who had just only built on Solana, or someone who'd only just built on Ethereum, right? We can actually leverage all of them. So Coin powering those smart contracts, staking reward pools. And then on the network level, I mean, I think one of the coolest things we designed is that all of the users who are creating value on the Raiinmaker network and the app during each 28-day period, at the end of the 28-day period, we release 1 million tokens minimum. We release a certain number based on the amount of value that's created on the network. So in the early months, it's going to only be 1 million tokens. But as it scales and grows, the amount of tokens released is going to grow. It can only grow by 25% or decrease by 25% month to month. So we did that to create a little more stability in the amount of tokens that are being released into circulation. But the value for the community is, the vast majority of those tokens are being distributed to fans and creators that are creating value on the community. And additionally, those who are keeping those tokens actually staked or held in their wallets are then receiving even a greater level of rewards every 28 days. So we took kind of the value prop of like DeFi and farming, and we mapped it to our own system of value. Because to me, again, I could just go do liquidity providing and the normal like DeFi type stuff, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's exciting, and we're participating, in those kind of things personally, because I think there's tremendous value. For us, we were just looking at how can we create a unique flavor of that really fits the DNA of what our product is. And so that's how with that Coin network level reward, it's being distributed to users every 28 days. The first period will be beginning here in the next couple weeks. So that's something that's exciting in terms of the Coin token and how we're using it to drive the incentivization and the distribution of reward democratically to users in our community.
So how is because you said that the coin issuance there's a limited amount, and then there's going to be more that's created over time after scalability. So how does that work exactly? Is that through like the smart contract, or are you guys manually having to create that, or how's that work?
No, yeah, it's a token minting contract. So basically our proof of influence algorithm calculates the amount of value that's created on each campaign, and then aggregates that too over the course of all the campaigns during the minting period. At the end of the minting period, it tells the token contract this much value was created, release this many tokens, and then this many tokens is minted and then distributed to users accordingly.
And what blockchain is that? Is that going to be like ERC-20, or is that
well? So so we have a dual token model. So and we actually haven't we haven't deployed the final contract yet. We've done the auditing and we're in the process of doing the final testing right now. So that will be deployed. It looks like right now ERC-20 with a bridge to the BSC or BEP-20, right? And so our goal was always to be dual token between those two ecosystems, because part of the problem, as everyone knows, is Ethereum is really expensive right now, and it's just causing a lot of friction, unfortunately. And I know that wasn't the intention of Vitalik or other creators when they built the project, but sometimes you can't predict what's going to happen when you really get as much adoption as they've gotten, which is great for Ethereum, and it's been great to grow the crypto community. I know we all lament the fees, and I feel the same way that everyone else does when you're having to pay such a large amount.
Yeah.
You look at it and you're like, this is not scalable. And so obviously, we've been looking at, like a lot of people, what do? We chose to build in a certain way so that we would have the ability to see how the future landscape shapes up and then decide what we want to do. So I think starting with Ethereum and BSC, knowing we could probably bridge to Ethereum to Solana, because there's wormhole bridges for that. There's a lot of ways to skin the cat depending on how things shake out, and the arms race that's kind of happening around who's going to get the most adoption, who's going to build the most scalable blockchain. I think it's going to be a multiple blockchain future with certain blockchains that are specialized, and with certain niches and communities, right? And so you might see Ethereum really work for that DeFi world, and where there's substantial amounts of value that has to move. And again, Ethereum might fix the scaling thing. They might fix the fees things. I know that there's lots of talk. There's been talk for a long time. I think it's just hard because the community isn't that patient right now, because the landscape's moving fast. And right now it doesn't feel like they're keeping up with that in that regard. That being said, nobody really knows what's going to happen in a year from now or 2 years from now. I mean, there might be another blockchain that emerges that nobody even knows about yet, that ends up being the one that becomes the dominant player. And obviously we didn't want to be like, oh, well, we put all our chips on Solana, or we put all our chips on Cardano, another project that I like, and who the founder, I think the founder is incredibly intelligent, Charles Hoskinson. So I think, there's a lot of great innovators in the space. So we're kind of sitting back, building in a way where we can, be a little bit blockchain agnostic right now, and I also, by the way, think that the future is open assets. Like, I don't think it's, I don't think it's like, oh, everyone's going to only build on Lightning Network like a Bitcoin maximalist would think. And there's nothing wrong with them. Again, that Bitcoin is the granddaddy of them all, and it's still like that sets the standard in terms of censorship resistance and true decentralization, and a lot of ways. Like, Bitcoin is still hasn't really been surpassed by by any other project or token yet, but it's also doesn't have certain qualities. Now I know people are building layer 2 things on top of it, and like Jack Mallers and who's another amazing young innovator, and to me, but I don't get dogmatic about it, and to me, I just want to see this movement of decentralization deliver on its promise to transform the lives of people around the world, the financial reality, because that's what it has to come back to. Like, there's a billion people or more that are living on less than $1 a day today, like right now. And right now they're, and they might be like, they might look like, smile and have a glow in their eyes that, is much brighter than you and I, or like sitting here in the first world, talking about first world problems. But ultimately, like, it's our responsibility to elevate them out of hell on earth. And I believe we can create heaven on earth when we actually activate those people, when we unlock the potential that they're carrying inside of them. I think that's actually, a big driver for what makes me passionate, what I'm looking to do with this space. And I think that that's really the fundamental promise. The original promise was that we were going to do it better than the legacy system did, because the legacy system didn't work in that regard. Like, somehow, you have a very small group of people that has billions and billions of dollars, and then you have billions of people who have nothing. And so to me, and again, I'm not like, oh, it's like, screw the billionaires. Like, no, it's not about that. It's not about blaming anyone. You know,
Right.
they were really good at playing the game, and they also created a lot of value in the world in a lot of cases, not always, but so it's not about like, you know, getting mad at Bezos or Elon or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's not, to me, that's not productive. It's more about how do we create a system that's sustainable? How do we create a system that really, you know, raises up the rest of the world and empowers them? Because we're at a moment where right now it's all hanging in the balance. Like what we do in the next 10 to 15 years is going to define the next 1,000 years for humanity. Like that's the moment that we're in. And so systems that are built on blockchain and incentivize human behavior in a very specific direction have the capability to define, you know, the course of our species in a way that, you know, I think few people can fathom. I think people inside of the crypto space have, you know, a good idea of what it can do. I think people on the outside, you know, don't have as good of an idea. So that was a long answer to your short question.
No, that's good. I agree. I mean, I think we're seeing that because you mentioned a lot about the third world countries. I think cryptocurrencies definitely changed the rules of the game as far as the monopoly goes. You know, talk about the billionaires. I mean, when cryptocurrency has created a door, an opportunity for a lot of the third world type countries that could utilize cryptocurrencies to their advantage. They have an edge now on the global markets with crypto that they didn't have, you know, 10 or 20 years ago, because they were only stuck with that fiat currency that was, you know, it was stuck with, you know, had the borders, and, you know, the currency, you know, their currencies were pretty much worthless because of hyperinflation, things like that. Bitcoin and all these other cryptos has now changed the game where now they have an edge on the global markets. And I think the future, I mean, I think cryptocurrency as we become more adopted is definitely going to help benefit the world as a whole. So as long as it stays decentralized, of course, right?
Well, but I think it's, look, even on the, and I agree with you 100%. I think the decentralization thing, though, I think sometimes that we miss the point of what the original like premise was. The premise wasn't decentralization for the sake of decentralization. This premise was to utilize decentralization to accomplish very specific things. And that doesn't mean that you have to code it in Solidity and do it in a hard smart contract on Ethereum, and that's the only way it's decentralized. I think that's where people are getting dogmatic and missing the point of decentralization, accomplishing very specific things. And so I'm not saying, again, one is wrong or one is right. What I'm saying is it's about, you know, we have a limited window of time to get there and get the rest of the planet onto the system, especially as, you know, legacy players move into the space, not only into the space as it exists, but they look to, you know, essentially capture ground. And my only concern, like yours, is not necessarily about, I mean, it is about decentralization in a you know, philosophical sense to a degree, because if you have you know, centralized, powerful, you know, players that come in and that are governing and running new systems, but just using them to accomplish the same thing that they were doing before, then we didn't win. We didn't do anything differently. The whole point of this was to empower people, you know, at a fundamental level. Because when you look at financial empowerment, you can talk about this, Nero. I mean, what did crypto do for you in terms of, like, you know, maybe giving you the financial empowerment and freedom to create and be who you want to be and do what you want to do and send your message out to the world? And I think there's a big, you know, the vast majority of this planet's waiting for that.
It's changed my life. It's literally has changed my life. I've made career changing decisions based off of it. I mean, it's now my life now. You know, before this, I was managing restaurants. So we do have 10 minutes left before, so we are going to be running out of time here. So let me go ahead. We'll start drilling through a few more of these questions here. So I noticed that you have something, you already mentioned it, about proof of insurance, or I'm sorry, proof of influence. Can you explain to me a little bit more about that and go into details, and what exactly is that for?
Yeah, so proof of influence, like I said, is that layer 2 consensus algorithm we built that tracks the social action that a community is driving. It hashes proof onto public blockchains, and then those hash proofs are used, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain. Those hashed proofs are used to distribute rewards to community or creating value through these social campaigns on Raiinmaker. And that proof of influence algorithm is also used to tell the token contract mint this many tokens every 28 days, and then accordingly distributes the value again created by users on the network to those users, every 28 days. So that's the main, kind of proof of influence, algorithm. And it's funny because like the industry in terms of influencer marketing is changing a little bit, where now, they're called creators and not influencers. And it's funny because I've always had a vision that we're all creators, right? So even like that's kind of part of the value prop of our platform is like we're not like only for, you need to be like a celebrity athlete or influencer or entertainment person who's only got like, bazillion followers. Like, no, this is meant to work for everybody, that to whatever extent you have a network that you can create value for projects, that you can be rewarded for that proportionally. And I think, brands in the future, and not really the future right now, they're already like trying to explore how can they scale, these kind of nano and micro influencer marketing campaigns, or nano and micro creators. And so with our platform, we're able to, that proof of influence algorithm, at a scalable level, bring large numbers of people into campaigns and reward them for the actual proportionate value they're creating. And that's, something that's definitely unique to our system.
Absolutely. So what is your roadmap of your project, and when will it be listed on the market? I mean, is it available on the market now? Can you trade it, or is it still pre-launch, or what phase?
Well, yeah, we haven't launched a token yet. And if you're in our Telegram group, you're gonna see people asking like, when Lambo, when Moon, I mean, the roadmap is to the moon, Nero. So I don't know what else other than that. I haven't figured out all the details. I just see the moon. We're pointed towards it. No, I mean, we've got, you're constantly iterating. You're constantly pivoting. Like, I think in order to be in technology and to be an entrepreneur, you have to be always willing to continue to raise the bar, continue to do whatever you need to do, to improve and get better. And so right now we're finishing that initial integration of 20 blockchains. That was like a big lift for our team, and getting that done, obviously. In the future we'll be improving all of our social media data and what we're capturing and the quality of it, more real-time data reporting on the application itself, which again, because we're leveraging the blockchain pieces, it becomes a bigger lift than if we were just a legacy product that was only using, simple databases without, the blockchain integration piece. So that's in the future. We've got a bunch of amazing partnerships that are going to be ramping up as we launch the token. And I think right now, I don't want to say a specific date because we haven't locked in the date, but we're talking to some of the biggest players in the space that are supporting our launch. So all I would say to any of the community that's following the project, or people that are interested in following, is like, definitely expect an announcement, very soon, and expect that, we are working with some of the biggest and the best in the industry, which is only because we've been patient and we've been diligent and we've been disciplined in how we're approaching the market. Like, there's been times that we could have like kind of FOMO'd in and just launched a token while, the market was doing something in one moment. I believe we still have another strong leg left in this bull run, probably before it, goes into another bearish cycle. How long will that be? Nobody knows. That's kind of the risk we're taking by being patient and approaching it the way that we approach everything, which is, being thorough and making sure that we're executing at a high level on all cylinders. So I would say over the next couple of months, users are going to see that launch, and they'll see the announcement come here, very soon on when that's happening. And then in terms of the product, again, I think we're always iterating, we're always improving, we're always, looking to, to scale. And then partnerships, we've got everything from like Maxim NFT to some big, huge GameFi projects, some of the biggest players in the space there. I don't want to name names because I don't want to announce it before we announce it officially with people, but we have some there. Professional sports, working with some teams where we'll be doing some campaigns with them. Obviously on the media and entertainment side, our company Vision Tree has a media arm. We've got, I think now 9 films in the slate and 5 series, like both scripted and unscripted. And so all of those projects are going to be leveraging Raiinmaker. Actually, last year we did our beta launch in 2020 with a documentary series called Open Source Money that premiered on Discovery Science. And so it was 100% cryptocurrency funded. It was about cryptocurrency, really US focused. We had some international players in it, but it really was focused on, a company called Dragon Chain that we're actually have been doing a lot of our technical development with in this early phase, and what they went through with the SEC after they did their ICO. So it basically followed, the track of all of the, the stuff that Joe, the founder, had to deal with. And so that was on Discovery Science. We're shooting season 2 for that right now. We filmed CZ from Binance a couple weeks ago in Dubai. We'll be filming a lot of other big players, in the coming months. So season 2 of Open Source Money will drop. That will drop, also on Raiinmaker, which pushed the marketing of season 1. And then we've got, other series and media projects. So we have a lot in the pipeline on the partnership side. We've got a lot going on in terms of the technical development, and the token launch is coming soon within the next couple months here. So
that's all exciting. A lot of big stuff coming. Guys, if you want to find out more information, and also if you want to join their community, you guys can find the links down in the description, so you can easily find them, join their community, get more info. We're getting here towards the end of our AMA. JD, is there anything else you'd like to say to our audience here?
No, I mean, I think the primary thing I'd say is, as people who have come into this space and have been fortunate enough to find this early and now are reaping the rewards of, either lucky timing if you just came in this run, like early in this bull run, or for some of us, like the patience to kind of endure the ridicule and the challenge of crypto winter. Or those that even, have endured multiple, crypto winners. I think we have a responsibility to give back. And I think that's where I would encourage people, find a way to support those that need your support, because right now we're at that moment where I think it's all of us as humanity banding together to support each other to turn this world around. And so that's what I would encourage people. And if you ever need anything from us, feel free to reach out to me, Monroe, or our team directly. We'd be happy to support, everyone who wants to be a part of our ecosystem. And, obviously, subscribe to our channels to stay tuned on what's going on. And yeah, just thank you again, Nero, for having me on.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you being on our channel, and very excited to see this project getting launched. And just a fair warning for you guys and out there, folks, this is not financial advice. So please make sure to always do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor, and that investing in projects, especially projects like these, do involve risk, and you can potentially lose all your money. If you're enjoying this video, please give us a thumbs up. And if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, so that way you get notified every time that I go live and when I post new videos. Well, stick around, guys. I do have more videos to come, more AMAs, and more projects to talk about. It is Nero here at Dappcentre saying so long and enjoy the rest of your day. Adios.